Hi, Wally Kline here, and this video is about the future of online marketing. This is not only things that are working today, but things that are actually in place today, but will affect us all in the future. While I'm involved in this, I don't pretend to know everything in the market. That's physically or humanly impossible. So just take that with a grain of salt. So I'm going to cover this basically and break this down into two factors. One is the technological changes that are taking place, and two is what I call generational changes that are taking place. They both affect online marketing in the way they are being conducted today. I will say that the pandemic has accelerated many of these things, and there are some very exciting things in the future. I believe that by being proactive and knowing what's going to take place instead of reactive, a company, any company, can gain a technological advantage in their marketplace by knowing what's basically coming. I've always felt this has been an important component of success, and businesses that are proactive have a better chance of gaining a tactical advantage. So I've broken this training session into 5 sections. Basically Google, what's up with them. Mobile, this is not your grandmother's flip phone. Video, stop, watch, and listen. Voice, Star Trek comes to life. And AI, or artificial intelligence. And is this an oxymoron? So let's move into section 1 with Google. Hi, this is Wally Kline, and in this segment I'm going to talk about Google's new, I want to cover some of the things that Google's going to be doing in the future, and I'm going to try not to get too technical on you, so I'll try to keep this short and to the point. A couple of major changes that Google's been going under for the last well over a year, but they've had what we call a mobile first policy. That means that Google has a very strong focus to the fact that mobile devices are becoming a predominant search vehicle for Google in their search results. The other thing that's taking place is the way they do keywords. Now, I'm going to teach you how Google's going to be doing searches in the future so that you can adapt or have your clients adapt to these changes based on the way they write content. This is going to become important. We've already implemented a lot of this in our company, but this is going to become very important as we move forward. So one of the things that Google's been doing, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but they're doing away with their page segmentation. So what does that mean? They used to have page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, 10 search results in each page. Of course, they've added things to it like the advertising block above, the Google My Business or Google Business Profile, as they call it now, above that. And I want to show you an example of what that looks like nowadays. Just pull up Plumbers Dallas. You'll notice a couple of things. One, in certain fields, they're doing what they do sponsored or Google guaranteed. This has a lot to do with the home services industry, which we're obviously focusing on. But if you look at that, you still have your sponsored links, and then you have your 3-pack. And then going forward, you'll have the people ask questions. You'll see that becoming predominant. Also now the suggestion bar as far as people ask, or the question query section as we call it. And then you get into your organic searches. And if you'll notice, as I keep scrolling, there is no bottom to the page. We don't see a page 1, page 2. There's kind of a break there with the advertising section, but it keeps going as it keeps going. And literally we're on page 3, but as you notice, there was no page delineation when we move between these sections. It just simply says more results, and you keep going. Okay, so it's mimicking what we call mobile scrolling is really what it's mimicking. So you're going to see this start to be play, especially as Google moves into more and more mobile first. So that's one thing I wanted to show you. Another thing I wanted to show you, or at least talk about, was that Google right now, or in the past, used to do what we do keywords. Everybody understands that. Basically, if you type in the word dog, it would relate directly to dog. Okay, that's called a lexicon. So basically, it's a one-to-one relationship between the keyword that the searcher is looking for and the results that Google provides. Okay, well, Google's doing away with that. What they're doing now is what we call entities. And let me see if I can show you an example of an entity. entities, according to Google, can be anything, including abstract concepts. But I'm going to show you what probably more something more concrete. I use John Lennon as an example. Okay, when you do a search for John Lennon, what you're going to find is Google is now tracking things by entities, and entities have components to them, okay, or what we call attributes. So for example, when you're searching for a person, John Lennon, you're going to start seeing things like the About section, okay, which is pulled basically from Wikipedia. It's giving his date of birth, his date of death, who his children are, his spouses, his siblings, his height. So all of these things are what we call attributes that are associated with John Lennon. Okay, now if you notice the ones in blue, they are entities in and of themselves. In other words, the Dakota, New York is an entity, but it has a relationship to John Lennon, okay, because that's where he was assassinated. Liverpool Maternity Hospital is an entity of its own, but it's associated with John Lennon. So what does this mean? Probably a good way to explain this is if I type in the word Apple, okay, predominantly what I'm going to get is I'm going to get Apple stuff. That's because of my search history. But anyways, Apple could mean the fruit or Apple could mean the company. All right. So Google is defining Apple, the fruit, with its own code. Say the code is U2345. Okay. Then Apple, the company, has a different code associated with Google, which is maybe U6724 or whatever. Okay. So Google is assigning these. Google is also, when it comes to entities and the attributes associated, starting to make connections between aliases and relationships of keywords. The reason is because in the past we don't do Apple searches like that anymore. We used to type single words into Google. Like if you were looking for, dog biscuits or something, or let's say a dog collar, you would type in dog collar and leave it at that, okay? As you know now, Google is also giving suggestions, which is another important component of what they're doing. But I spelled collar wrong. Let's change that. But Google, we don't talk to Google anymore in this fashion, this babyish, what I call babyish fashion, where we type in just a couple of words. In the beginning, we did. Now what people are doing is they're doing things like looking for a dog collar for my 6-year-old shepherd. There it is, shepherd. Okay. So now we're having more conversational searches. So looking for a dog collar for my 6-year-old shepherd is very specific. So Google is going to start to deliver things that are associated with that. So Google's making major changes. And this is designed to give the searcher a more accurate results page, okay? In other words, Google's objective, because they make money from advertising, is to have a great searching experience for anyone searching. And the more relevant the search is to what the searcher was looking for, the better. I call it like reading their mind, okay? That's probably a good way to put it. They're trying to read your mind, and they're doing that contextually through the semantics of our language. So the AI that Google now employs, which they have their own AI called Knowledge Base, which pulls things from Wikipedia and all kinds of different data sources, that knowledge base is now learning contextually what we mean. So let's say I wasn't this specific and I typed in something like the color blue, okay? This is very ambiguous. There's a lot of things that could be happening with the color blue, as you can see by the suggestions here, all right? And if I do a return on that, it's going to give me the images for the color blue, and then what does the color blue symbol? It's trying to match up what my intent was when I searched for the color blue. The color blue in meaning in psychology, the color blue, trust and loyalty, symbolism, types of colors. Maybe I was looking for the shades. Oops. Shades of the color blue. Okay. Now it's getting even more specific. There are 100 shades of color blue. You palletize it, gives you the gradients, blah, blah, blah. So maybe this was my intent, but as you can see, I had to redefine it. Now, what Google's doing is they're also tracking these as failures. So for example, if I typed in the color blue, which I just did, I didn't get the result I wanted, and I didn't click on a page, and I retyped my search query to be more specific, Google considers the original search as a failure, meaning they did not deliver what I was looking for. So therefore, I had to retype in or requery Google with something more specific so that it would give me the results I'm looking for. Google tracks those failures and learns from those failures and decides, oh, okay, when someone types in the color blue, we have to give them a wide range of options so that it will help them narrow down. That's also why the suggestion bar or the suggestion right here comes up. It's to help you define, according to what searchers are doing, what you might be looking for. You know, the shades of blue-green or royal blue or 50 shades of blue color. Okay, so it kind of gives you more specifics that you can tap into in the suggestion bar. So this is Google's AI trying to learn what you mean or read your mind, what your intent is, even when you're doing something ambiguous. Okay, so that's really what's going on. So you're going to see more and more of this keyword retiring, okay, for entity searches. Now, what does that mean to our customers and to us as an example? That means we have to be very specific in the way, not only the way we create our content, but the intent of that content. We have to look at the intent behind the content so that we're creating contextual content that is very specific and taps into those reality of Google looking at entities versus keyword terms. So they're no longer matching things one-on-one like a lexicon. They're matching things based on the intent of the keyword and the context it's put into and the cross relationships that it finds with that entity. Okay, as we did with John Lennon there. You saw that about bar. If I go back to my John Lennon example, you bring it up, you'll see that a lot of these other attributes or components of the entity, like Cynthia Lennon, you can actually click on these, like the Liverpool Maternity Hospital. It will now bring you to the place. So this isn't a person, this is a place. And you can see that this has changed right here. So Liverpool, it gives you a description about the Liverpool Maternity Hospital, when it was founded, where it's located in England, the affiliated universities, and so back. So these descriptions are going to become more prevalent in their entity results. And you probably notice that, especially if it's a person, place, or thing that can be easily described or they can pull the information for. And so this is all cross information. And all of these attributes of the Liverpool Maternity Hospital are in and of themselves entities also. So the University of Liverpool is also an entity and has a relationship to everything else. As a matter of fact, we might circle around and find that the University of Liverpool, if John Lennon attended that, is related to John Lennon. So somehow. So anyway, so that's the way that Google searches are changing. It's good to know you now know 99.9% more than most business owners do about how Google's changing. You also know about 90% more than most SEO companies do. So you're now an expert just knowing the fact that Google is making this move to entity searches versus keyword searches. Thank you. Hi, Wally Kline again, and in this section we're going to talk about mobile and some of the changes that are taking place with mobile devices. And this is not your grandmother's flip phone. So ever since COVID-19, there's been some impact on the way consumers are reacting to that and how that affects mobile and texting in particular. So as evidenced by this report from HubSpot, 75% of people's personal screen time has skyrocketed. 61% of consumers have been texting significantly more since the pandemic started, and screen time per day increased by 50%. So this is just to illustrate that consumers are using their personal phone devices more and more for various tasks. So let's take a look briefly at email versus texting. So we at our company, we use, I'm going to precursor to this by saying email is not dead. Email is not going away. Email is still a very viable marketing channel and should be incorporated into every business's marketing plan. However, we have also noticed that SMS or texting has some advantages, or advantages for specific industries usually. We use it here in our company. We actually use 3 channels. We use email, text messaging or mobile marketing, and Facebook Messenger as our 3 main channels to generate leads and also communicate with existing customers. And we find that our customers will prefer one or the other, or sometimes both. Email opens 28-33%. Conversion rates run in the single digits. And with SMS, you know, the other thing too to note here is that it's not just the fact that these have better open rates and click-through rates, but also the speed at which they're reacted to. An average email usually is in the range of 90 minutes as far as any kind of reaction time. Whereas we notice when we're texting a customer or mobile marketing to a customer, talking about like 90 seconds. So there's a big difference in speed to market or testing. So I think every business should incorporate mobile marketing and email marketing as part of the marketing strategy. So let's look at some other stats. People who prefer to receive text from business calls, right up here. Also, use on mobile devices is increasing. As a matter of fact, as a lead generation company, we find that more than 50% of our leads come from mobile devices. So we're seeing more and more that that's become an important component of marketing and how consumers are reacting to that. And I expect these numbers will continue to increase over time. So the bottom line when it comes to mobile marketing is that it should be something that every business looks at. There are businesses that can benefit more than others. For example, right here you're seeing the industries like restaurants, apparel and beauty, electronics. I would also say the service industries can use mobile in a lot of different fashions. For example, confirmation of appointments for estimates, you know, things like that. Beauty salons can mobile text out to their existing consumer base to fill a cancellation. Dentists can do the same thing. Veterinarians can do the same thing. So there's lots of industries that can benefit from capturing mobile numbers from consumers or their clientele and then marketing to them for either additional products or services or to just enhance the overall consumer experience. All right, in this section, we're going to look at video. And most of us know that video is an important marketing component. A lot of businesses haven't taken advantage of it fully or even at all. So we're going to do the stop, look, and listen, I call it. But I'm just having fun with these things. So here's some stats I think that you're going to find interesting, and the fact that video use over time has been increasing. Also, and it doesn't show here, but we're finding that the video spend by marketing, small businesses especially, has been increasing dramatically. So more and more companies are realizing that video is a great way to communicate a message in addition to text. There are lots of consumers out there that would rather watch a 2-minute video than read a half a page of text. So it's an important component, especially from a marketing standpoint when you want to introduce new services or existing services to consumers. Differentiate yourself in the marketplace, state why you're different from your competition. Use it as one of the most powerful things we've been doing with it is using it to give social proof through reviews. So we actually incorporate the reviews in the video to enhance the likelihood that a potential client or customer is going to respond to that, because they often respond better to third-party endorsements anyways. This is kind of the old word of mouth. We're trying to digitize word of mouth. I guess that's a good way to put it. Anyways, and reviews are a great way to do that. So there's lots of ways to use video. There are lots of sources. There are also technological advantages. I know that for most people, the easiest thing to do is upload it to YouTube and then embed it in a website. We've been incorporating our own video player into the website, so we don't have to basically go to YouTube and get involved with the recommended videos afterwards and a lot of other things that come with that. additional YouTube marketing, as I call it. But that's not something that everyone can do technologically. So just even if a business just uploads a video and gets it on YouTube and then embeds that video in their website, they're further ahead than 99% of their competition. So we are always encouraging our clientele to use video in their marketing efforts across multiple channels. It's also a great tool for search engine optimization because Google loves video because they own YouTube. So there's a relationship there that we can tap into. So what's going to happen with video in the future? Just briefly, video is going to continue to grow as an important piece of content to provide to consumers. The demand is certainly there for that. It also is going to become more important. For example, we're using video now in our emails. We can do video emails. We can communicate between team members simply by putting a video together. It's actually very easy to do. We just click on a button and basically it's incorporated into our Gmail. And then we can just send each other a video and talk to each other rather than type out a whole bunch of words or worry about that. We can communicate faster and better with video than we can writing a lot of text messages back and forth to each other. Although either one still works, I just find it much more personable and you gain some additional information when you watch a video versus, say, a text. So meanings can become clearer or less misconstrued in a video than they can via a text message. It might be a little more ambiguous. So there's lots of ways to use video, not just marketing, but internally in operations and all kinds of things. In training, as we are now doing in this video. So you can see that video has a lot of advantages. It's only going to continue to grow in the future. One of the technological things, and I won't get into the actual technological part of that, but video is becoming extremely important. And as you notice, as the networks have increased their bandwidth, the ability to video to text to mobile phones is becoming more and more popular. People are watching videos on their mobile phones, something we couldn't have thought of 10, 15, 20 years ago. I would always encourage someone to use video in their marketing as a component of their marketing. They'll have to determine what vehicles work best for them and what kind of messages they want to build. Okay, now we're into section 4, voice. And I call this, Star Trek coming to life. If you ever watched Star Trek, I used the scene where Scotty was talking to the computer via a mouse. And I think that's kind of comical because we are actually headed in this direction. Actually, it's a reality in many ways today. 27% of people are using voice search on mobile. Now, voice search, as we call it in our industry from a search engine optimization standpoint, is what we call zero position. So we're all familiar with ranking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the search results page, but video or voice is actually what we call zero position marketing. And the reason is because when you use things like Alexa and Siri and some of the other voice platforms that are out there, or use voice on your cell phone to search for items, that's what we call zero position, because Google gives a preference of sending that consumer who's making that inquiry to usually 1 or 2 people only. And there are ways to include voice as part of your search engine optimization so that you rank in that zero position, as we call it, for voice. So when someone's searching for your products or services using a voice search via Alexa, Siri, or Google Voice, or any of the other voice applications that are out there, that you will actually rank and become the predominant choice when it comes to that product or service in your local market. So that's where we see the value in voice. And this is only going to increase. Voice search is so much faster than text search. Consumers are really migrating to it. They would rather you talk to a machine than type into a screen or use a screen. You can also do screenless now using voice. So it has a lot more applications across a broader field of technologies. I threw this up just because, these are America's cell phone habits. So when it comes to relationship to voice, it's not prevalent here, so to speak, but it does give you an idea that people are used to doing more things with their phones. They're on their phones more. I mean, we've all seen it. We've gone into a restaurant, everybody's on their phone instead of talking to each other, which I think is a sin, but that's just me because I'm old-fashioned. But I do see voice as becoming an extremely important play from a business standpoint, for searches especially, because people are going to start requesting those things via voice versus textual searches, which means that every business should consider voice as a part of their marketing plan when it comes to doing that. Now, there are different ways to submit voice. There's nothing easy yet, I will say that. There are some things we've been playing around with that are somewhat easy, but when we onboard a client, we do incorporate voice as part of our service offering. We automatically do it because we know that there's advantages to it. This right now, voice as a service and a ranking property is usually very specific, okay? There are industries that are going to gain from voice searches much more and much faster than other industries. For example, restaurants certainly would want to incorporate voice into their marketing plan because a lot of people search for the nearest restaurant or the nearest service type industries. So it's important to just kind of consider, I guess that's the best way to do it, is consider that as a component of what's coming down the line as more and more people start to use voice. Then obviously this is going to become more important. Now here's the nice thing, and the reason why I suggest it today versus tomorrow is because, as you are probably aware, if you're ranking in voice today, there's a really good chance that when everyone else wants to rank in voice, you're already there, which means you have kind of a first position. And we feel that's kind of important because then it's harder for us to lose first position than it is for us to gain first position later on down the road. So we like to get there first, make sure our customers are there, make sure they're incorporated into a voice search. Voice searches are still part of SEO, so if Google or those don't have any prevalent voice search components, they will pull off the normal SEO or normal search results to incorporate that. So there are advantages on both sides. You don't have to worry about it necessarily as being a major component right now, but it's a good thing to consider if possible, and we can get into a whole nother discussion on voice at a later date. Thank you. So this is section 5. I call this AI, or AL, or whoever you want to call them, artificial intelligence. And I said, this is oxymoron, because artificial intelligence is the part that's debatable in the past. So, but AI is becoming more and more sophisticated, and certainly is now being incorporated by major technology companies. Facebook, Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, they're all using AI. As a matter of fact, I think it's kind of funny that AI is now checking AI, meaning Google's using their own AI system to check AI systems. So, I don't know. It's kind of weird. But anyways, let me explain to you, and I'll actually show you what has been, in the news a lot for the last 6-8 months, and that is the OpenAI chatbot or ChatGPT, which is gaining a lot of notoriety because of its ability to do a lot of things. I want to say this is only the beginning of AI. Okay, this chatbot, while powerful in and of its own right for what it can do, is just the beginning of artificial intelligence. There are so many ways this could play out that I can't even, if you can imagine it, it probably can be done by AI. So probably one of the best analogies is right here on this screen. We used to plow with a horse and a plow with a man standing behind it and do it the hard way. It was very back-breaking, not very efficient, time-consuming. Modern technology rolls in, and they invented the tractor, and now we can do things with a machine twice as fast and twice as efficient and more accurately. So AI is kind of that type of device. The results are the same. A field gets plowed. A field gets plowed with horse and plow and a man, or a field gets plowed with a tractor. So the results are the same, and yet the way it's done, the efficiency incorporated, and the speed are different. So AI really is about creating things fast and more efficiently and more accurately than we can the old way. So I'm going to give you an example here of an AI. So this is ChatGPT. So what can you do with ChatGPT? There are tons of things. It can do pictures, it can do videos, it can do, words. So I'm just going to use a basic ChatGPT version. And I'm going to do something like this. So let's say that I wanted to write a description for a YouTube video that I'm placing from a plumber in Pennsylvania. So I'm going to type in this, write a description. I think I did that right. No, E. Spelling wasn't my strong suit in school. Thank God for math and science. Write a description for a plumber in, let's say, Pittsburgh, PA. Wonder if it understands what PA is. I think it does. All right. Wants to probably capitalize Pittsburgh. Yep. Okay. So I want to write a, I want to write a YouTube description. Let's be more specific so it knows what I'm doing. I want you to write a YouTube description for a plumber in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So this is just a task that I want to accomplish. I'm going to put it into ChatGPT, hit enter, things thinking. I should probably, so anyways, you can't probably see the top part because I cut it off, but this is what it came up. Oh, welcome to the official YouTube channel of Pittsburgh Trusted Plumber. If you need a reliable plumbing service in Pittsburgh area, you come to the right place. Our team is experienced professionals, blah, 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 blah. So it basically wrote this description for me. Now, word of caution here. While I enjoy the fact that this spit this out in a couple of seconds and I didn't have to type it, the point is that I would probably still review this. I very rarely, if ever at this point, just blatantly copy this into my description into YouTube and leave it at that. The reason is because while the AI is accurate 90% of the time, there could be little things in there that you didn't want to incorporate. You might want to put it in your tone of voice. Maybe you want to add some additional features to it. But this is just an example of what ChatGPT can do. I can do almost anything. You can, I can ask it to write, I could ask it to write a book and it would. So the point being is that this is a tool now that is more along the lines of the tractor than the plow. So it makes mundane tasks a little easier for us to do, pulling from its database. So that's just an example of what it can do. I'm sure there's other examples you can think of. But anyways, I just wanted to show that to you. So here's something to do. Let's ask ChatGPT what it can do. What can ChatGPT do? And now it's going to spit out a whole list of things. Answering questions, generating text, translation, summarization, sentiment analysis, chatting. Overall, it's a versatile tool that can assist with a variety of tasks related to natural language processing. So that's what its main basic task is. It can, and I will say this, I don't have it up right now, but it can also do variations on video, on pictures. So if you have a picture and you want to make multiple copies of that picture with variations, it can do that. Same thing with video, it can do that. So it's getting more and more sophisticated in its ability to process basic information and make it a little bit easier for us to do things as human beings. I can create a grocery list. I won't go through all this stuff, but I can create a grocery list, from ChatGPT. So, it'll spit out a groceries. Here's a basic grocery list: milk, bread, eggs, right? Just list a whole bunch of things, and it'll keep going and going and going for a while. But anyways, it gives you an idea of what it can do. And lastly, just simply to overwhelm you, because I think it's fun. Just kidding. This is actually Google's knowledge base schema layout. This is technical. I'm not going to spend any real time on it. I just wanted to show it to you. This is the kind of stuff we dig into. And I'll just scroll down. It'll let you know how extensive it is. So the single attribute here is it's a local business, particular business, branch, organization. Examples are restaurants, particular branch of a restaurant chain, a branch of a bank, a medical practice, a club, bowling alley, or etc. These are some of the parameters of local businesses that they look for, the attributes I was talking about earlier, that they look for in a local business using their knowledge base AI. So this is part of their knowledge base AI. And I can just scroll down and show you that they incorporate a lot of things into this AI. And these are just some of the, and I mean, I can keep going. This scrolls for quite a ways. So you can see there's a lot of geopoints or a lot of data points in this AI that Google has created that is related to search in their knowledge base. So just wanted to scare you with that. So that's what we have to deal with sometimes in our business. But it's not as complicated as it looks. It's really just paying attention to some of the parameters. But AI is going to be a big play going forward. And I think that as we see it in being incorporated into more and more business platforms, that it's going to have wide-reaching effects. I really think that AI is designed to take a lot of mundane stuff out of the picture to allow us to do the more creative or imaginative things. Because AI doesn't really have much of an imagination, but it can do mundane work very easily. So it's kind of that tractor. I think that's the best analogy, the tractor analogy. So I just want to thank you for watching this, what I hoped would be a shorter video. But I hope you got a lot out of this. I threw a lot of things in there. I tried not to get too technical on you. And of course, I could do a couple hours on each one of these segments in detail. But I just wanted to give you kind of an overview of some of the things that I see coming down the road in the future that you might want to think about or incorporate into businesses that you're helping with SCORE in terms of their marketing. And you will, just by knowing some of this stuff, you will be the expert to them in the marketing field that they were looking for. So I hope this helps, and I enjoyed doing this. I had some fun with it, so thank you very much.